welcome to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Kieft in the studios of our flagship station, Civic Center TV, and 89.3 Lakes FM. In addition today, as always, joining us on Comcast, Channel 15, and AT&T Channel 99 in the Birmingham-Bloomfield area is Birmingham Area Municipal Access, or BAMA. Also joining us on those channels in Southfield is City Cable 15 of Southfield as well. But we're on a number of other television stations in the Oakland County area as well, including Orion Neighborhood Television, or ONTV, out of Lake Orion, where every day is a vacation, and on Channel 10 in Waterford on the Media Network of Waterford. Join us on the radio as well in the Birmingham, Bloomfield, and the Troy general area on 88.1 WBFH, the Biff Radio Network. That is the service of the Bloomfield Hills School District. And then you can join us online in a number of different places on social media, facebook.com/CivicCenterTV15 and facebook.com/LakesFM. While you're over there, go ahead and give us a like so that you can see everything else that we do pop up in your feed, including The Splash, including our live coverage of West Bloomfield, Laker football, and more. Again, that is Civic Center TV 15 and Lakes FM on Facebook. You can also join us live on our webpage as well, CivicCenterTV.com website, whatever the word is. It's okay. I got a case of the Mondays going in the language part of my brain, evidently. CivicCenterTV.com. Click on our Watch Live link at the top of your computer web browser, and it's also on your mobile phone's web browser. If you go into the left margin of the screen, it'll give you a drop-down menu. You'll click on Watch Live, and guess what happens there? You can watch live. That's on our website, CivicCenterTV.com/watch-live also. And you can find us online on My Michigan TV or MyMy, their website, mymytv.com. That is MYMITV.com. My as in possessive, my, MI or my, again, TV as in television. MyMyTV.com. There you can subscribe for free Michigan programming from Michigan creators all across the state, and find out where you can get My Michigan TV's apps as well on your smartphone and on your smart TV. Places like the iOS App Store, the Android App Store, Roku TV, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, and more. Again, mymytv.com. And if you are unable to remember all of those different websites that we have listed for you so far, and all those places that we are broadcasting daily, you can find all of them on our website at CivicCenterTV.com/Megacast, or click on our Megacast link on our homepage on your mobile phone or on your web browser on your computer as well. There you'll find links that will take you directly to the websites of all of these outlets, so you can learn more about all the other programming that they do, including picking up our broadcast Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. until 12 noon. And on our Megacast page, you can also find all of our full episodes and our full interviews on demand, so you can watch the show on your time. You don't always have to join us from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, Monday through Friday, although you're always welcome to, and we highly encourage you to join us for the live show so that you can start your morning off with, let's just be honest, a whole lot of fun that we have here Monday through Friday, each and every day, 2 hours a day in the mornings. But if you can't, you can always join us on demand, CivicCenterTV.com/Megacast. And then right next door to that is our coronavirus page, and that's where we have a number of different important links about COVID-19 that give you factual information, up-to-date information from experts across the U.S., across the state of Michigan, and across our local area here in Oakland County, where we originate our broadcast, about COVID-19, about the variants of COVID-19, including the Delta variant, about the spread of cases in Michigan and across the U.S., about our vaccines and our booster shots, and continued research that goes into the efficacy over time of these vaccines that don't prevent COVID-19 cases, but prevent severe cases of COVID-19, but that reduce your risk factors for COVID-19 should you contract it. You can learn all that information and more, and find out additional information about the efficacy of precautionary tactics as well by visiting their websites, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Michigan Health and Human Services Department, and the Oakland County Health Division, all of which are linked on civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. In addition, we have links to web pages of many of our municipalities here in the Oakland County area as well, such as West Bloomfield Township, Rochester Hills, Bloomfield Hills, and Birmingham, and more, so that you can get information about your hometown and how COVID-19 is being addressed on the hyper-local level, as well as the county, the state, and the federal level as well. And on civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, we also have our top stories each and every day. Now, we're having some more technical issues today, as we have periodically had over the last several weeks, getting into the back end of our website to be able to post these articles. So we will get these posted as soon as we possibly can after the show today. Hopefully by about 1 o'clock or shortly after, we'll have these full articles for you. We will display them as best as we can on the screen, and we will still go through them today, but we will have those on our website for you sometime this afternoon. civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. And making our top story today from ABC News, Johnson & Johnson recipients should, quote, feel good about booster recommendations, says Dr. Fauci. Recipients of the single-dose Johnson & Johnson coronavirus vaccine should not be concerned about the shot's lower efficacy now that boosters have been recommended. White House Chief Medical Advisor Dr. Anthony Fauci told ABC's This Week co-anchor Martha Raddatz, quote, I think that we should feel good about it because what the advisors to the FDA felt is that given the data that they saw, very likely this should have been a 2-dose vaccine to begin with, he said on Sunday, and closed quote. The FDA's vaccine advisory panel unanimously recommended booster shots for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine on Friday. The panel recommended all J&J recipients 18 and older to get an additional jab as early as 2 months after the first dose. Key differences from the recommendations for Moderna and Pfizer boosters, which were only for Americans 65 and older or those in high-risk groups. The decision comes days after early data released from a National Institutes of Health study found that boosting a different shot than one's original vaccine appears to be both safe and effective. The data, which is not yet peer-reviewed, also found that J&J recipients and their antibody levels were higher if they received a Moderna or Pfizer booster rather than a J&J booster. Raddatz pressed Fauci on whether mixing and matching vaccine boosters for J&J recipients would be a better idea. Quote, but Dr. Fauci, the panel, was also looking at new data that suggests J&J recipients may be better off getting a booster shot from the more effective Pfizer or Moderna vaccines. Is that a better solution? And closed quote, Raddatz asked. Fauci responded, quote, that is true, the data you refer to, that if you boost people who have originally received Johnson & Johnson with either Moderna or Pfizer, the level of antibodies you induce in them is much higher than if you boost them with the original J&J, Fauci then said. He went on, quote, however, you're talking about laboratory data, which very often are reflective of what you would see clinically. But the data of boosting the J&J vaccine's first dose with a J&J second dose is based on clinical data. So what's going to happen is that the FDA is going to look at those data, look at the comparison, and make a determination of what they will authorize. Fauci had added that the FDA Centers for Disease Control and Prevention will give people the flexibility to mix and match vaccine boosters based on their individual health situations. Now that the FDA has recommended J&J boosters for a wider group of Americans, the question turns to when Johnson & Johnson and Moderna boosters will be expanded to the general public. Fauci said that will depend on the data being collected by the CDC and findings coming in from Israel, which is about a month ahead of the U.S. in its vaccine rollout. As for vaccines for children ages 5 to 11, Fauci said the FDA is on track to approve the Pfizer vaccine in early November. With kids eager to go trick-or-treating and the holidays right around the corner, Raddatz also asked Fauci about his guidance for celebrating the upcoming holidays. Fauci responded, quote, I believe strongly that, particularly in the vaccinated people, if you're vaccinated and your family members are vaccinated, those who are eligible, that is obviously very young children, are not yet eligible, then you can enjoy the holidays, he said. You can enjoy Halloween, trick-or-treating, and certainly Thanksgiving with your family, and Christmas with your family, and closed quote. So, couple of things to dig into here. Johnson & Johnson boosters are being recommended or are soon to be recommended at this time. The FDA's Vaccine Advisory Panel unanimously recommended booster shots for Johnson & Johnson vaccines on Friday for those 18 years of age and older who have received that one-dose vaccine. However, what is concerning here, to me at least, is reading that Dr. Fauci says that in hindsight, looking back at what we have, that this probably should have been a 2-dose vaccine. It brings up the question of, was this particular vaccine pushed through a little bit too quickly before more was understood about it, considering it's not using the same techniques as the Johnson & Johnson, as the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. If this should have been a 2-dose vaccine, it was pushed out because it's only 1 dose, and that's something that's more attractive to certain groups of people that don't want to get 2 separate shots, that could be a concern. That being said, like everything else in this pandemic, including the rollout of these vaccines, this is new data that we're trying to get out in a way that is swift but also accurate. And at that time, that's the most accurate information that we had. So you can Monday morning quarterback all of this all we want, but the fact of the matter is this is a novel coronavirus. This is a pandemic with a new virus that we're fighting in new ways in many cases, and there continues to be a whole lot of pushback and not a lot of cooperation among the general public in battling this pandemic. And so you're going to have things like this that slip through the cracks, things like this that have information that changes and that different adjustments need to be made. So take what you will from this. We're going to get more information on this, I'm sure, over time, especially the really interesting point about the potential for mixing and matching booster shots from one vaccine versus another, particularly for those who received the Johnson & Johnson 1-dose vaccine as their first dose and are looking to get boosters. That still is under further debate. There still needs to be further studies and peer reviews done on that, but really interesting information. That full article from ABC News will be on our website soon, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. Other news, less happy, I would say, is that rapid at-home COVID tests are flying off of Michigan store shelves as the pandemic demand outpaces supply. This is from the Detroit Free Press. At-home rapid tests are in short supply at locally owned independent drugstores, pharmacy chains, and big box stores across Metro Detroit right now, where retailers say they can't keep them on the shelves. Quote, "We're trying to keep them in stock," said Sammy Shamoon, a pharmacist and owner of Collie Drugs in St. Clair Shores. He continued on by saying, "It's difficult to get them. The big box stores are buying all the supply in our warehouse. When they don't go to get them, they don't get a lot," in close quote. On Friday, his store said that a few of the Binax Now rapid antigen tests behind the pharmacy were still in his possession. Most of the nearly 24 pharmacies that the Free Press surveyed, from Ann Arbor to Chesterfield Township, Detroit to Downriver, didn't have any at-home tests or rapid antigen testing in stock. In Michigan, coronavirus cases have continued to edge upward in the last 3 months as many people test positive for COVID-19. Those who are exposed are more likely to also seek out testing. So are people with symptoms from allergies, colds, and flus, all of which tend to ramp up at this time of year. Students have also returned to college campuses, many of which require weekly testing for those who have not been fully vaccinated. There's more demand for tests among workers, too, whose employers may require them in some cases. The supply is further tightened by a recent recall of the Illum COVID-19 at-home test. The U.S. FDA reported October 5th that a manufacturing issue led users of the Illum test to get false positive tests. And if President Joe Biden's sweeping COVID-19 vaccine mandates take effect soon, requiring all workers at businesses with 100 or more employees to take a coronavirus vaccine or undergo weekly testing, it could further strain the already tight supply and tight market for these tests. That being said, federal help is on the way. More over-the-counter rapid tests are coming, said Jeff Zients, the White House coronavirus response coordinator, though it might not be for several more weeks. The FDA approved a new at-home test earlier this week that could boost supply. It's called the FlowFlex COVID-19 Home Test by ACON Laboratories. In addition, Zients said the federal government has invested billions of dollars in purchase commitments so companies that make rapid coronavirus tests can increase production. The aim is to quadruple the supply of at-home rapid tests. People are seeking other options as well when people can't find rapid tests on store shelves, they're often driving to seek them out at urgent care centers and other testing sites to fill the gap. That could be a more costly option, especially for people without health insurance. At Beaumont's 28 Detroit urgent care centers, people without insurance cover will pay $155 for a visit, which includes not only a coronavirus test, but a full checkup, said spokesperson Scott Hughes. He estimated about 60% of patients treated at Beaumont urgent care centers are coming in for coronavirus tests and can get results from molecular polymerase chain reaction, or PCR tests, within hours. Even for people who are fully insured, there may now be some cost for coronavirus testing. The federal government requires insurance companies to fully cover testing for people who've been exposed to the virus and for those who are experiencing symptoms. But the insurers are not required to pay fully for routine testing for workplace or for school protocols. That is all on our website. Civic will be all on our website at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. And lastly, an update from a previous story where in recent weeks a local mosque in Rochester Hills was vandalized overnight on a Friday evening. There has been an update from the Detroit Free Press and other publications in that story. An Oakland County man has been charged with a misdemeanor in vandalizing the mosque. An Oakland County man was arrested and charged with a misdemeanor in connection to vandalism reported earlier this month at the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community's Mosque in Rochester Hills. Ryan Ahern, 33 years old, of Rochester Hills, is accused of breaking the front door to the community center, according to a Sunday news release from the Oakland County Sheriff's Office. Mosque leaders previously said the incident happened on October 8th as children played inside the center at 1730 West Auburn Road in Rochester Hills following evening prayers and was discovered the following morning. The sheriff's office previously said surveillance footage showed a man walking the perimeter of the mosque about 9:30 p.m. that night. Ahern was identified using surveillance video, the sheriff's office said on Sunday. The sheriff's department said Ahern is a person of interest in other acts of vandalism at non-religious locations and, quote, believed the vandalism was a random act and not a hate crime, and close quote. He was arrested at his home on Friday. The 33-year-old was arraigned on Saturday and released from custody after paying $1,000 or 10% of his $10,000 cash or surety bond, according to a news release. There was no word on his next court date. Ahmadiyya is a revivalist movement within Islam founded in 1889, and mosque leaders previously said the vandalism made them feel unsafe. Other vandalism has occurred in Michigan mosques, and in the 1980s, an Ahmadiyya center in the Detroit area, was burned down and a member was murdered. Leaders said Sunday they hope to meet with the accused, not seeking punishment. WDIB-TV, or Channel 4, reported. Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard commended his department for the turnaround time on the case. Quote, anyone that damages property will be vigorously investigated and held accountable, he said. Continuing on, I commend our detectives on quick and good police work locating and arresting this individual, and closed quote. If convicted on the current charge, Ahern could serve up to a year in jail, according to the release from the Oakland County Sheriff's Office. All those articles will later on today be on our website at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. We have a great show ahead of you today. Coming up in just a few minutes at 10:20, we'll be joined by a career counselor at JVS Human Services, Sherrie James. At 10:40, I'll be joined by Yvette Wyatt, who is a witch and conjure worker. At 11 o'clock, I will be joined by Ashley Sandregret from Make-A-Wish of Michigan. And then at 11 o'clock, we'll be joined by Dr. Dania H. Bazzi, who is the superintendent of the Ferndale Public School District. At 11:40, then, we'll be joined by Jerry White Jr., festival director of the Vidlings Tapeheads Film Festival. All of that coming up today on the Oakland County Megacast.
Today, it is easier than ever to join Michigan's Organ Donor Registry and help build a bridge of hope for organ, tissue, and eye donation. Just one person can potentially save or help improve the lives of up to 75 people. By joining, your legacy could be the gift of life. Sign up today at michigan.gov/SOS or at any of the more than 145 Secretary of State self-service stations located across Michigan. Be part of Michigan's Bridge of Hope by adding your name to the Organ Donor Registry.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, Let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
How does marijuana affect the teen brain?
Our brains are still developing into our 20s.
With regular use, marijuana can affect teen brain development.
It can affect our brain's circuitry and blood flow and impair thinking, learning, and memory function.
Which could hold us back from reaching our potential.
Don't let marijuana mess with your brain.
Get the facts at michigan.gov/drug-free.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe, alongside our studio producer and board operator, Calvin Brown, in our studios in West Bloomfield Township, where we broadcast live from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, Monday through Friday. You can find all of our full episodes and our interviews on demand on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast. Joining us now, we're pleased to be joined by Sherrie James, the career counselor at JVS Human Services, as older Michigan workers have been heavily impacted by the pitfalls of the job market here during the COVID-19 pandemic. And JVS Human Services and Sherrie and her team are working to help them reacclimate themselves to the workforce and find their next great opportunity that will not only be a good career move for them, but will be a comfortable career move for them as well. Sherrie, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Pleased to be with you. So this program is a virtual career development program. It's called Recharge. It's going to start on October 26th. What can our older or more mature workers be expecting to experience during this virtual career development program, and what skills may they develop along the way?
So Recharge is a program for people 45 and over that are really just trying to figure out what they want to do in the next stage of their life. It doesn't even have to be looking for a job. It could be doing soul searching, trying to figure out what their next move is. Do they want to do volunteer work? Do they want to re-career? And some of the things that they learn in Recharge are, we look at interests, values, in order to really do some soul searching to make an assessment of, next stages of life.
Yeah, for many people, this is, like you said, it's not about necessarily getting that next job or making that making that next career move or recovering from the pandemic. For some, it's about changing direction and finding a different path forward for yourself and for your career, and maybe doing something that's more satisfying to you or more along your areas of interest as you're getting into the later parts, hopefully, of your career, or you just need a change of scenery. So for people that are going into this with different perspectives and with different goals, how can they best come into this program and get what they need out of it?
I think that's a great question. I think that you come in with an open mind and trying to really learn about yourself. I think one of the things that COVID did for many people is they've reevaluated who they are and what they want to do in their lives. So, it really has been a time for people to slow down. And Recharge really makes people really think about who they are as a person and what they're interested in doing, not what do they have to do, really what their interests are.
We're joined by Sherrie James, a career counselor at JVS Human Services, joining us to talk about Recharge, a virtual career development program for mature workers, which starts on October 26th. Now, Recharge launched in 2012, and since then, according to my notes, 275 individuals have gone through the program. And what are typically the results that people can expect from having gone through a program like Recharge? I mean, obviously it's going to be in some ways you make of it what you get from it what you make of it, but in other ways it's just about learning some of those skills and to be able to put your best foot forward to change your career, to change your direction.
You said about put your best foot forward. And typical. So there are really no typical outcomes for Recharge because every person's situation is different. But really what the program does is it builds hope, builds self-confidence in order for people to explore and figure out what they'd like to do. I mean, for instance, some people come to Recharge and they're retired already and they decide, do I want to go back to work or don't I want to go back to work? Some people are currently in an active job search and are recareering. I once had a woman who worked in corporate America, and she decided that she'd like to work for nonprofits, and she went into fundraising. So it took her some time, and she did a lot of informational interviews until she really figured out what she wanted to do. But really, the one thing that Recharge does, especially now, is helps people connect, with other people, meet other people that are going through similar situations for support.
We're joined by Sherrie James. She is a career counselor at JVS Human Services, talking about Recharge, a virtual career development program for mature workers, which begins on October 26th. It's for workers. It's aimed at workers 45 years of age and above. And so, Sherrie, what are some of the individual programs or different lessons that some of these workers that may participate in Recharge will experience or will learn along the way as they go through this program?
One of the lessons I think that people learn is we take a lot of assessments, and one of the assessments they take is the strong interest inventory, and it matches their assessments to 10 different occupations. So it really helps people really think outside of the box sometimes. Occupations are recommended for them, and they really are, some occupations are recommended that they never really thought of. And a lot of times people in the group will recommend occupations to other people. I once had a gentleman who had a great voice in Recharge, and people were telling him he should do radio or do something on TV. So a lot of ideas come through the brainstorming, through the group, through me, and through the support of JVS.
We're joined by Sherrie James, career counselor at JVS Human Services, with us today on the Megacast, talking about the Recharge program. This is a virtual career development program for workers 45 years of age and older that will begin on October 26th. And a little bit about what will go into this program. It will provide tools for participants to reconnect with their skills and interests, refresh their professional image and personal brand, restore belief in themselves during life transition, and review the local job market. So it's got a little bit of something for everybody. And what's exciting about this is that no matter what your goals are going forward at that point in your career, at that point in your life when you're trying to make this sort of a change or re-enter the workforce after being out of it for a while, either because of the pandemic or for other circumstances, whatever your case may be, that a lot of these lessons translate to various situations, and these skills can be utilized in so many different ways, no matter what your ultimate goal is coming out of the Recharge program.
Absolutely. And the skills is really a nice place where we actually start with Recharge. Instead of asking people, hey, what are your top 10 skills? We have an assessment that we use that gives people actually their skills. And from there, we kind of take apart their top 10 skills and really have them write accomplishment exercises to really think about, hey, how did I use this skill in the past, and what really were my accomplishments with this? Because it's hard to really get in touch with really what your skills are unless you've had some expertise at it or really spent some time thinking about it. And also for the marketing purposes, when you go to find a job, you have to use those skills and be able to say how you used them and why.
We're joined by Sherrie James. She's a career counselor at JVS Human Services, with us today on the Megacast. And Sherrie, for those that may be interested in participating in the program, or those that may not be interested in participating in the program, but are interested in the subject matter that we're discussing today about the Recharge program, at this moment in time, for those workers 45 years of age and older who this program is aimed at, Depending on their goals, of course, it's going to be different. But what are one or two things that they should really be focused on right now as they're looking to change their career path or are looking to re-enter the workforce in one capacity or another?
I think one of the things, though, is to really update your computer skills. I mean, Recharge is currently going to be on Zoom, so I mean that's really an important piece to finding a job in today's society too. And I think using LinkedIn is really an important piece. That's something that everyone can use. It helps for networking. And also I think building self-esteem, feeling good about yourself. I'm all about, since I'm a counselor, what can I do to restore hope in people? What can I do to make people feel good about themselves, so they themselves can take the action that it takes in order to move through the process, whether it be volunteer work, getting a job, or just deciding, hey, I'm just going to stay home and be happy with what I'm doing.
We're joined by Sherrie James from JVS Human Services. She's a career counselor with JVS and is here to promote Recharge, a virtual career development program for workers 45 years of age and older. That begins on October 26th. So it's coming up soon. If you're interested, keep this in mind. And Sherrie, for those that are interested, how can they participate? How can they sign up for this virtual program?
They can give me a call or they can email me. Is the best way. Do you want me to give the information?
Sure. Yes, please.
Sure. My phone number is 248-233-4472, and my email is sjames, it's JAMES, at jvshumanservices.org. Or call the JVS. You can call, if you don't remember any of that, you Google JVS and then call the front desk and they'll reroute you to me.
We're joined by Sherrie James. She's the career counselor at JVS Human Services, joining us today to talk about Recharge, a virtual career development program for mature workers looking to either change the path of their career, refocus their career, and shift into something more along their areas of interest, or even re-enter the workforce following the bulk of a pandemic that has been very tough on older workers, as it has been on women and a number of other populations as well, who are now working to re-enter the workforce. And it can be different for older adults who have been in the workforce for a while, who have been in their careers for a while, but have now been out for a little bit, to get back in. And in some cases, some businesses maybe in the past may have been more apprehensive to welcome more mature workers back into their team because they figure they're not going to be there for very long. In some cases, they're closer to retirement. They may be too skilled for certain positions, and these businesses may worry that they're not going to be able to afford them because of their skill set and because of their experience. At this point where we're at right now, with the quote-unquote worker shortage that's being experienced in so many different industries here in Michigan and across the U.S., has that mindset with employers changed as they look at more mature workers looking to get back into the workforce or to shift into their area of interest?
I think the employers are really kind of more open now to hiring people of all ages, and I think it's easier now to move out of one occupation to another occupation. But the bottom line is people are really looking for a good fit for themselves. A lot of people that come to Recharge would like a job that they have passion for, that they're interested in. So it's really it has a lot to do really with the fit and feeling good about what they're doing.
And Sherrie, anything else that would be important for our audience to know, particularly those who would be in the age group and that would be best benefited by Recharge as we approach October 26th when this program begins?
I think the best thing to know about Recharge is that it's a great place to come connect with other people. We have fun. We have a lot of laughs in order to kind of reach a goal of trying to figure out what you'd like to do in the next stage of your life. Sometimes people are really lost. They're not really sure where to go, what to do. Recharge has a little bit of everything, a little bit of a lot of things, and people find benefit in, most of the things that we're doing.
Well, Sherrie, we appreciate your time and thank you for giving us this preview of this program that will be a big benefit to a lot of people in our local area and across southeastern Michigan who are looking to change their career path, get back into the workforce, or shift into something that's more along their interest level as they reacclimate their career following the bulk of this pandemic that we're still very much in.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on.
Appreciate it. Again, Recharge begins on October 26th. It is a virtual career development program for mature workers, 45 years of age and more. And to register or ask more questions, you can contact Sherrie at her email. That is sjames, S-J-A-M-E-S, at jvshumanservices.org. sjames@jvshumanservices.org. Or you can call her phone number 248-233-4472. Again, 248-233-4472. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side, we'll transition from the job market to the supernatural. We have coming up next Yvette Wyatt. She has been seeing spirits since she was a child, and now she is a witch and a conjure worker and is leading the Detroit Witches Bazaar, which will be coming up on Saturday, October 23rd at the Hilton Garden Inn in Southfield. We'll talk to her about that. We'll talk to her about her life seeing and communicating with spirits and all of that coming up next during a very spooky interview here on the Megacast.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council,
we work together to protect water resources for everyone.
Most of the pollution entering our rivers is carried by rainwater that runs off roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
A rain garden helps catch stormwater runoff.
Rain gardens and their plants help dirty runoff soak into the ground.
You can do your part to help keep our water clean.
Learn about rain gardens and native plants.
So consider a rain garden in your home landscaping.
Catch the runoff with a rain garden.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
I couldn't breathe at all. There was lots of talk about putting me on a ventilator. I thought I was gonna die. I was 39 weeks pregnant and had a scheduled C-section. During that time, I got COVID and was hospitalized for a month. I had a blood clot in my lungs. It caused me to go into right-sided heart failure. I was really scared. I kept texting my husband and my mom, telling them how scared I was, and I was worried that he was gonna grow up without a mom. And then I was worried if, when I did get home, that he wouldn't know who I was. You know, being 27 and a mom and a wife and having that all almost taken away from me. It's scary, and if a vaccine can prevent that from happening, why not? Get your vaccine. I don't want this to happen to anybody else.
A message from the staff of Michigan's Crime Victim Compensation Program.
Anyone can be a victim of crime
and suffer lasting trauma, physically, emotionally, and financially.
But you are not alone.
If you're struggling financially due to a crime,
we're here
for you.
Find out if you qualify for crime victim compensation.
Call 877-251-7373 or visit michigan.gov/crime-victim.
A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Victim Services.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Kieft here in our studios in West Bloomfield Township alongside studio producer and board operator Calvin Brown. You can find all of our episodes on demand as well as each and every one of our interviews on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you can also find out more information about all of our partnering television, radio, and web outlets that join us each and every day for our live shows from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, as well as throughout the day for replays. Joining us now is Yvette Wyatt. She is a witch and conjure worker and will be part of Detroit Witches Bazaar, which will be held this coming Saturday, October 23rd at the Hilton Garden Inn in Southfield from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. Yvette, thanks for being with us today.
For having me.
Appreciate having you on. So you are a witch and a conjure worker, a lifetime Detroiter, and you began seeing spirits as a child. Tell us a little bit about your early experiences and how that led you into your current work.
Well, I think for many people, it's a lifestyle. This is a lifestyle. So my grandmother understood what I was seeing. My mother, of course, thought something was wrong with me, but my grandmother understood it. Many African traditions are looked at different, but it's not, and it's not really spooky. I mean, because energy never leaves. So when someone passes away, their physical body's left, but their energy is still there.
We're joined by Yvette Wyatt. Yeah, we're joined by Yvette Wyatt. She's a witch and conjure worker with us. She'll be at Detroit Witches Bazaar this coming Saturday, October 23rd, at the Hilton Garden Inn. So for those that aren't familiar with the work that you do as a witch and a conjure worker, tell us a little bit about your work and some of the services that you do provide to people through that work.
Well, I own a store in Detroit called the MotownWitch. We do candles, incense oils. I do consultations with people to help them get their spirits in a better place, so to speak. I don't do the stereotypical love work thing and all that death, hex, all that. I don't do any of that kind of thing. I try to help people find their peace within themselves. It's really a holistic practice.
And so you'll be joining a number of other people and other vendors at Detroit Witches Bazaar on Saturday. For those that are going and will see you at the Witches Bazaar, what can they expect to be able to communicate with you, or maybe services that they can have provided by you at the Detroit Witches Bazaar at the Hilton Garden Inn this Saturday?
Well, actually, this is actually my event, so I'm not going to have a table. I have 40 vendors. I have 40 vendors. There are tarot readers, oracle card readers. They make potions. There's potion makers. There's altar making. Body butters, oils, incense, soaps. There's 40 different vendors there that weekend. And actually, the bazaar is before the ball. That night is a ball. We have a formal black tie event that night.
And so, there seems to be a large number of people that are really into this kind of stuff and do believe in everything that your vendors and the work that you do and all of that. But there are a lot of people that also will look at this from the outside looking in without an open mind and think that this is all crazy. Is this event also for them? Is this for people that are really into this kind of stuff? Or is it also for people that are kind of on the outside looking in, maybe don't believe in this stuff, maybe are just curious about it, and can come here and speak with these vendors and interact with them and ask questions and maybe along the way be more open to some of these ideas?
It's for everyone. There's no exclusion. It's for everyone. Even the ball is for everyone. The ball is just called the Detroit Witches Ball, but it's an open party that's catered, and for the price that you pay, you get dinner and you get open bar. So, and I encourage people not to drink and drive and get a discounted room by saying you're with the that you're at the ball. It's for everyone. You can come, you can learn, you can look, you can just buy soap or just buy candles. It doesn't have to be anything with a magical purpose. You know what I mean?
We're joined by Yvette Wyatt. She is a witch and conjure worker and is leading the Detroit Witches Bazaar, which is an event that will be held this Saturday, October 23rd, at the Hilton Garden Inn in Southfield from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. And then that night at the same location at the Hilton Garden Inn from 9 p.m. to midnight will be the Detroit Witches Ball. And so, Yvette, there is a big metaphysical, pagan, ATR Michigan community that maybe isn't as well known as it probably should be outside of those circles. Tell us a little bit about just how extensive of community we have in those regards across the state of Michigan.
It's huge, actually, because actually there's two balls. There's another one, I don't know their location, but there's another one called the Michigan Midwest, or the Midwest Michigan's Witches Ball. It's the weekend after mine. Unfortunately, in Michigan, there's that racial divide. So for years, I've been a part of the other one, but there's always the other people who don't want to go to that one. So I kind of opened up a gateway for everyone so that now everyone can come to this one as well.
We're joined by Yvette Wyatt, a witch and conjure worker. She also is leading the Detroit Witches Bazaar, which is an event that will be held this Saturday, October 23rd, at the Hilton Garden Inn in Southfield from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m., as well as one of those balls that she was talking about. The Detroit Witches Ball will be held at the same location, the Hilton Garden Inn in Southfield, from 9 p.m. until midnight that day as well. So, Yvette, for those that are interested in this event, where can they find more information? How can they? Is this a free event, or are there tickets that need to be purchased? Where can they get all that information?
The bazaar is free. They can go to www.motownwitch.com, or www.detroitwitchesball.com. And information is on both places. The bazaar is free. The ball is $50 per ticket. Tomorrow is my cutoff date because we have to get the caterers a final count of how many people.
We're joined by Yvette. So where can people purchase tickets to the ball?
On DetroitWitchesBall.com, MotownWitch.com, and here at the store at the Motown Witch, which we're located at 16844 Schaefer Highway in Detroit.
So what will they experience when they go to this ball? And they're among other people that are from this community and people that are outside of the Michigan ATR and metaphysical and pagan community that will also be joining them. What can they expect to experience at this ball?
Good food, good music, dancing, just dress in your finest wear. This is an actual, we don't have formal events around that often anymore. I like that kind of stuff, so that's what we're doing. I mean, that it's like I said, that's just the name of it. There's no spooky, TV-oriented spellwork thing happening. It's just a party.
We're joined by Yvette Wyatt, a witch and conjure worker who is leading the Detroit Witches Bazaar. It's the first annual Detroit Witches Bazaar, featuring 50 vendors through an emporium of magical gifts, meet and speak with practitioners of various traditions. Entry to the Witches Bazaar is free. The Witches Ball is a paid event. And so this is the first annual Detroit Witches Bazaar, and it is your event, Yvette. What inspired you to form this event, to organize this event, and ultimately to hold this event coming up this weekend?
Well, like I said, there was other ones before, and a lot of people wouldn't go for various reasons. So I just opened it up for everyone to come to this one. Actually, I did a Detroit Hoodoo Festival last April, and once I pulled that off and it was easy to do, I decided to do this as well.
We're joined by
we're doing another Hoodoo Festival next year, 2022.
We're joined by Yvette Wyatt. She is a witch and conjure worker with us on the Megacast. She is the leader of the Detroit Witches Bazaar. That event will be held again. It'll be held Saturday, October 23rd, from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. That is at the Hilton Garden Inn in Southfield. It is free to attend. There will be readers, artists, and vendors offering an array of beautiful, exotic, and magical creations and services at the event. And then that night, a whole different celebration. The Detroit Witches Ball will also be held at the Hilton Garden Inn on Saturday, October 23rd from 9 p.m. until midnight. And you can learn more information and purchase tickets to the ball at DetroitWitchesBall.com. And so, Yvette, before we say goodbye today, just a few more minutes left with you today. Anything else that people should know about this event before they go? What they can expect? How they should prepare to come out to this event, or any other information that would be interesting for our audience to know about the first annual Detroit Witches Bazaar?
Well, come out with an open mind and come out to shop and support local artisans. It's basically like an art fair, so to speak. So there's a various array of people that make a lot of different things, and it's nice. And you can learn something and see that the word witch is not the spooky, ooky thing that people think it is. I've called myself a witch since I was a child, and I look at a witch as a healer.
Yeah, there are real people that are doing this work on a daily basis and are helping other people through their work as well. And so it's always important to get another person's perspective and learn a little bit about a topic, or learn a little bit about a practice before you make any sort of judgment about it or make a decision yourself, because you're not always going to be an expert. But when you talk to someone that is an expert that has done this, you come in with that open mind, and maybe you learn something and find a new interest as well, right?
Exactly. I'm just a typical grandmother of 4, almost 5 grandsons. I mean, I'm just grandma. It works.
Well, Yvette, we thank you very much for previewing this event with us, for showing us some ways to come in with an open mind and garner some interest for a really interesting event that you're putting on this Saturday at the Hilton Garden Inn in Southfield. We appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me.
Appreciate it. Again, that event is coming up Saturday, October 23rd at the Hilton Garden Inn in Southfield. From 9 a.m. until 3 p.m., the Detroit Witches Ball will be on Saturday, October 23rd from 9 p.m. until midnight. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side, we will be joined by Ashley Sandregret from the Make-A-Wish of Michigan to talk about some of their fundraising events and the work that they're doing to grant wishes to sick kids all across the Great Lakes state. That and more is coming up. You're listening to the Megacast on your radio homes for the show, 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. The Megacast returns after this.
You see certain things get reincarnated in your children. My daughter is very much inspired by my wife's artistic pursuits. So my daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, and I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanted to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you did. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council.
As partners working together to protect our water resources, we agree.
Pet waste is the source of harmful bacteria in the Huron River.
When it's left on the ground, it can wash into the storm drains.
These lead directly to our streams. No filters, no treatment.
Here's one thing we know that can help keep our water clean.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
So pick up pet waste and trash it.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Who is struggling right now?
I am.
My son is.
Many are struggling with anxiety, depression, and substance use. Before it becomes a crisis, reach out to MyCal, the Michigan Crisis and Access Line for free confidential support 24/7. Available in the Upper Peninsula and Oakland County. Just call or text 1-844-44-MyCal or chat online at michigan.gov/MyCal. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
I couldn't breathe at all. There was lots of talk about putting me on a ventilator. I thought I was gonna die. I was 39 weeks pregnant and had a scheduled C-section. During that time, I got COVID and was hospitalized for a month. I had a blood clot in my lungs. It caused me to go into right-sided heart failure. I was really scared. I kept texting my husband and my mom, telling them how scared I was, and I was worried that he was gonna grow up without a mom. And then I was worried if, when I did get home, that he wouldn't know who I was. You know, being 27 and a mom and a wife and having that all almost taken away from me. It's scary, and if a vaccine can prevent that from happening, why not? Get your vaccine. I don't want this to happen to anybody else.
Motorcyclists are hard to see. To keep everyone safer, it's important to always look for them and know where most crashes occur. 84% of motorcycle and vehicle crashes happen on streets, not highways. And most crashes with motorcyclists occur when vehicle drivers are turning left. So before turning, especially to the left, make sure you look for motorcyclists. Then look again. It could save a life.
To Sophia and Gabriel. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Can I ask you a question? Why did you get your kids vaccinated?
You
was hard for them to social distance, to be isolated from their friends.
I want them to get back to school and sports games. So as a pediatrician, I recommend the vaccine to everyone I know.
The boys lost a former teammate and classmate who was only 20 years old. It's been a devastating year.
We want to get back to normalcy. Our daughter is really looking forward to being with her friends, being a kid.
It's the Great Lakes water. And so what people do ends up in our waterways.
Flushable wipes are just evil. They should be thrown away. They're impossible to destroy, and they can cause significant problems.
One of the main things when you're cooking is to not dump fats, oils, and greases down your drains.
They stick to the sides of pipes. They stick to everything they come in contact with. Don't put it down the sink.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources, call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Neighborhood storm drains carry water directly to local creeks and streams. No filters, no treatment.
Storm drains also help reduce street flooding when it rains.
So clearing storm drains and the areas nearby of trash and leaves helps keep them for rain only.
It is easy to do your part by adopting a storm drain.
Find a storm drain, check it, and clear it every month.
So keep storm drains for rain only.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
We as Michiganders feel connected to this resource in a way that I think is really powerful.
Conservation starts with a caring, committed community.
For me, it's peaceful to have a relationship with the river.
Every single one of us has a role to make sure that those waterways stay safe and healthy, being careful about what goes down the storm drain.
Just even eliminating some of your single-use plastic makes a difference.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
People are getting out to walk and bike in higher numbers. More vulnerable road users and higher speed traffic can be a dangerous combination. Crash severity has increased, so if you're driving, be sure to slow down and look for people. There's no need to speed. If you're biking, ride with traffic. If you're walking, avoid stepping into the road if possible. If you have to walk in the street, walk facing traffic. Learn more at walkbikedrivesafe.org.
She is the Development and Communications Officer for Make-A-Wish of West Michigan, and she joins us now on the Megacast. Ashley, thanks for being with us today.
Hey, Tyler, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Appreciate having you on. So you have an upcoming event tomorrow, October 15th. Make-A-Wish will be holding a virtual event called World of Imagination, The Journey of a Wish. Tell us a little bit about this virtual event and how people can join.
Yes, we're very excited about our virtual event. It is free to all of you that register. It's the last event of our Hope is Essential virtual series that we had this year. We had to look at our events and what we would usually host in person, but we said we have powerful incredible stories to share, and we know that we can do that virtually. So we came together as a team, and we've created World of Imagination, Journey of a Wish. It's a free virtual event that anybody, if you're ever interested in what's going on in Michigan and how kids are having their wishes granted, this is the time to join. It's about a 40-minute program that really walks you through the wish granting process, all the way from the referrals to the volunteers to the wish kids telling their stories of anticipation to the wishes being granted. Every voice is heard during this virtual event. We're really excited to share it with everyone.
Yeah, so you get to learn a little bit about what goes into some of these sometimes very simple wishes and sometimes a little bit more elaborate wishes, all that end up being, from an organizational standpoint and from a community standpoint, a really concerted effort and a big effort from a number of different people to grant a wish to a child, and you get a little bit of a greater insight into just what goes into that, because we see these videos and we see the end result, but we often don't hear a whole lot about what goes into that from the start to that finish point.
Yeah, I think it's really a really cool thing. I know before I was a staff member and I was first a volunteer, I couldn't believe how tangible the wish experience is for volunteers. Our volunteers are the ones that are 2 trained wish granting volunteers that meet with wish kids, that meet and ask them the question, if you could wish for anything, what would you wish for? And they get to be a part of that journey and a part of that experience along the wish process. And I think that kind of blows people's minds that kids, volunteers are working directly with our wish kids. Donors that are donating their dollar funds are going directly to grant wishes for Michigan kids. That's the other thing. Make-A-Wish Michigan is not government funded. We are solely funded by incredible individuals, corporations, school groups that come together that raise money to grant the vital funds for kids right in our backyard.
We're joined by Ashley Sandrogat, the Development and Communications Officer at Make-A-Wish Michigan in their West Michigan chapter. She joins us now to talk about their upcoming virtual event called World of Imagination: The Journey of a Wish. You can learn more information and find a live stream on its website, worldofimaginationmi.org. That again, worldofimaginationmi.org, where you can also make donations, and those donations, when you do make a donation, thanks to their match sponsor, Arby's Foundation, all donations up to $50,000 will be matched. And you can also participate in a silent auction as well. What are some of the things that people will be able to be bidding on in that silent auction that, of course, benefits Make-A-Wish of Michigan?
Silent auction's open right now too, and people are eagerly bidding as we speak. So we're not waiting until tomorrow night to open that silent auction. It's now. Get on there, check it out. There's some cool Detroit Red Wings Tigers packages in there. There's a Traverse City Sunset cruise. Get on there. There's some things that even I'm keeping an eye on to see. The silent auction will be open until 5 p.m. on Sunday. So definitely check it out. There's some fun stuff on there.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff there. And again, that is worldofimaginationmi.org if you'd like to learn more about some of the items that they are auctioning off, and get on that. It's already underway, and it all is ultimately going toward a good cause, and you'll be able to maybe get a really good experience out of that as well, should you win any of those auctions. We're joined by Ashley Sandrogat, the Development and Communications Officer at Make-A-Wish of Michigan, and she's joining us to talk about, again, their upcoming event tomorrow night. And what time of the day? It is tomorrow night. It is 7:30 p.m. Friday, October 15th. Just want to make sure I didn't misspeak on that. Friday, October 15th at 7:30 p.m. on worldofimaginationmi.org, where you can join them for World of Imagination: The Journey of a Wish. And so, Ashley, as we talk about these donations and as we talk about proceeds that are going to toward helping Make-A-Wish provide these wishes and grant these wishes to these kids that are dealing with a critical illness, how much of an impact does this have on these kids as they're going through the process of battling these chronic or these critical illnesses, and what kind of impact does that have on their recovery process or on their treatment process, and maybe even does that impact the success of those outcomes in some cases?
Sure. We know that there's now new studies that have come out about the medical impact of a wish. And we had an event back in April that was just our medical professionals from across the country talking about their experience and that the impact of a wish plays on wish kids. And they are seeing when the wish is just introduced to a wish kid, just that anticipation of having a wish and knowing that they have something to look forward to is not only changing conversations, instead of people saying, oh, how are you feeling? How's it going? They're saying, oh, I heard that you get to get a wish. What are you thinking about? And it's switching conversations. It's also showing our Dr. Fauner, our doctor and our chapter medical advisor, he says it so beautifully that wishes are part of the medical journey that he can't prescribe. He can prescribe it, he can refer a wish, but it's part of the medical healing of a child that's facing a critical illness. These kids are losing their childhood when they are diagnosed with a critical illness. And so a wish is bringing that back. This last year, we've been able to grant wishes for playset wishes, puppies, above ground swimming pools, and to watch these videos that are going to be shown tomorrow night in the World of Imagination Journey of a Wish event. You're going to hear directly from wish families about how the wish has personally affected their family, and you can see the smiles on the wish kids' faces when you see them enjoying their wish.
We're joined by Ashley Sandberg, the Development and Communications Officer at Make-A-Wish of Michigan, joining us on the Megacast. You can learn more again about their event tomorrow at 7:30 p.m., The Journey of a Wish, by visiting worldofimaginationmi.org. That is also where you can make donations, where up to $50,000 donations, a cumulative donation of up to $50,000 will be matched by their match sponsor, Arby's Foundation. And you can also bid on a number of different interesting items, including rock superstars autographed electric guitar, a sunset sail for two in Traverse City, a Detroit Red Wings and Detroit Tigers experience. So you can go on the ice and then on the diamond as well. You can register to participate in the free event and learn more or become a sponsor. Again, worldofimaginationmi.org. That is worldofimaginationmi.org, where you can find more about that. And so, Ashley, here in the state of Michigan, and Make-A-Wish Michigan chapter, how are children able to participate in having their wish granted? How do families go about reaching out to the organization? Does the organization find these families? How does that process work? And then where does it go from there to then receive their wish and start working to grant it?
Awesome. Yes, we are granting wishes for kids between the ages of 2.5 and 18 years old. And a child has to be referred into our Make-A-Wish program in order to receive a wish and become eligible. We work directly with hospitals across the state of Michigan and other referral sources that help refer kids to our Make-A-Wish program. Also, what's kind of fun is that wish kids themselves can call in and start the referral process. So those are fun calls that we get sometimes, that are some of our teenagers that say, hey, I think I qualify for a wish. We actually had a wish kid that was messaging us from the hospital room on a social media platform saying, hey, how do I get a wish? So wish kids can refer themselves, medical professionals, parents can start the referral process, and then a family member that has extensive knowledge about a wish or about their the critical illness, they can start the referral process. But ultimately, we work directly with the child's treating physician to work with our eligibility criteria. Once a child becomes eligible for Make-A-Wish, they are assigned wish granting volunteers. And again, our wish granting volunteers are 2 trained volunteers in the community that sign up for a wish kid, and they're the ones that get to ask the ultimate question: if you could wish for anything, what would you wish for? And they're also the ones that are part of the child's wish process, that they're keeping the kids excited about their upcoming wish. So maybe they're doing touch points once a month to do something exciting, and just keeping their wish top of mind. And so once our volunteers go in and find out what they want for their wish, our wish coordinators that are staff members start planning the wish. So they work in tandem with our wish granting volunteers. They're doing more of the logistic stuff, while the wish granters are really the boots on the ground for us, the ones that are front facing with our wish families. And really, we see, I heard from a wish kid that's now a wish alum. He talks about the dreaming process. So the anticipation of his wish being granted, It's something that he said really got him through the next treatment, really gave him that light at the end of the tunnel when he was so uncertain about what that tunnel was going to look like. Because it was very narrow for him. He was very sick. He had multiple spinal taps, hair loss, sickness, hospitalizations. But once he was able to start shifting his focus on that anticipation of his wish, he says it so beautifully that really gave him the hope that he needed to keep going and to have the strength to get through. And once those wishes are granted, we have a lot of families that are still staying in touch and wishing it forward, which to me is so inspiring. When families, after they've had their wishes granted, they come back and they say, hey, we want to make sure other wish kids are having their wishes granted too. How can we help? And that's the power of a wish.
We're joined by Ashley Sandberg, the Development and Communications Officer at Make-A-Wish of Michigan. She's joining us again to talk about their upcoming event, Friday, October 15th. That is tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. It's a virtual event, World of Imagination, The Journey of a Wish. You can participate and learn more about donating and bidding in their auction by going to their website, worldofimaginationmi.org. And Ashley, a few more minutes with you today before we'll say goodbye. And before that, you mentioned volunteers and the work that they do with Make-A-Wish of Michigan. If people are interested in volunteering, what volunteer opportunities are there, and how do people get involved then to be able to volunteer with Make-A-Wish of Michigan?
Yeah, so our volunteer experience is incredibly tangible. I would encourage you to go to michigan.wish.org. That's our main website, and click on our volunteer tab. Check out some of our volunteer stories, but also you can start your application process to become a volunteer. Like I mentioned before, you can be a wish granting volunteer, one that pairs up with another wish granting volunteer, and you get to be directly connected to the wish process and the wish experience with our wish kids. Also, we are really hoping in 2023 we will have in-person events, and we have some really awesome events coming up. We have our Walk for Wishes in Detroit, and we need volunteers for that. And then we'll have our Wish Ball in West Michigan. And then we have a 300-mile, 3-day bike tour that starts in Traverse City and ends up in Proving Grounds, actually. And it's a 300-mile, 3-day bike event that is so powerful, and we need lots of volunteers for that event. So if you're interested in volunteering, again, go to michigan.wish.org, click on the volunteer tab, just even call us. If you're just interested in getting involved, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to chat with you.
We're joined by Ashley Sandberg, the Development and Communications Officer at Make-A-Wish of Michigan. Again, if you want to learn more about their event tomorrow, October 15th at 7:30 p.m., a virtual event, World of Imagination, The Journey of a Wish. Find more information on that event and register to participate by going to its website at worldofimaginationmi.org. That is worldofimaginationmi.org. And to learn more about Make-A-Wish of Michigan and how you can volunteer, that is michigan.wish.org. Ashley, another minute with you before we'll say goodbye today. Anything else that would be important for people to know about tomorrow's event, or about the work and the opportunities for volunteerism or additional aid to Make-A-Wish of Michigan before we say goodbye today?
Absolutely. You know, during this pandemic, we were able to really count on our greatest supporters, and we were able to grant 364 wishes in our last fiscal year. But we know that 800 kids every year are being diagnosed with a critical illness, and we need donor dollars. Every dollar that comes into the Make-A-Wish office is granting wishes for Michigan kids, and there's so many ways that you can get involved. We'd love to talk with you, and join us tomorrow night. It's a free event. You have nothing to lose, but so much to gain from such an inspirational event tomorrow night. Join us, check it out, and we'd love to hear back from you.
Yeah, learn more information about that event and how you can donate and participate in fundraising efforts such as their silent auction by going to worldofimaginationmi.org and learn more about the organization at michigan.wish.org so that they can continue to provide, to grant wishes like they did last year with 364 wishes. That is almost a wish a day, and they'd love to do a lot more. Ashley, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Tyler, so much for having me.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
211, how can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Parents do a lot of worrying. Get your kids caught up on childhood vaccines to protect them from these 14 preventable diseases, and you'll have 14 fewer things to worry about. Vaccines are safe and effective and save lives. So let's get caught up on vaccines and worry about something else. Get the facts at ivaccinate.org.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Most of the pollution that goes into our rivers is carried by rainwater that flows off of roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
The leaves and bark of a single tree can retain a surprising amount of rainwater. Depending on its size and species, it could be 100 gallons or more.
It is estimated that an urban forest can reduce annual runoff by up to 7%.
Here's one thing that we know can help keep our water clean.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
One of the things you can look for in your friends is a change in behavior.
These can be big changes, they can be small changes in mood, physical appearance.
They may be sleeping less or sleeping more, drinking more, or their eating patterns may be different.
One big change that can be pretty obvious is change in motivation. Do they no longer want to play basketball? Do they no longer want to play video games?
Now that we're spending more time online and in virtual settings, it's really important to pay attention to the language that your friend is using and the words they're using to communicate.
So when we text our friends, are they taking longer amounts of time to respond? Are they not responding at all? You don't have to be an expert to try to recognize these signs. The second that you feel it in your gut and that you're concerned, that's the second to have the conversation and open the door to what might be going on.
Today, it is easier than ever to join Michigan's Organ Donor Registry and help build a bridge of hope for organ, tissue, and eye donation. Just one person can potentially save or help improve the lives of up to 75 people. By joining, your legacy could be the gift of life. Sign up today at michigan.gov/SOS or at any of the more than 145 Secretary of State self-service stations located across Michigan. Be part of Michigan's Bridge of Hope by adding your name to the Organ Donor Registry.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
How does marijuana affect the teen brain?
Our brains are still developing into our 20s.
With regular use, marijuana can affect teen brain development.
It can affect our brain's circuitry and blood flow and impair thinking, learning, and memory function.
Which could hold us back from reaching our potential.
Don't let marijuana mess with your brain.
Get the facts at michigan.gov/drug-free.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe alongside Calvin Brown in our studios in West Bloomfield Township, where we broadcast Monday through Friday live from 10 a.m. until 12 noon, not just here in the greater West Bloomfield area or in Oakland County, but all throughout the state of Michigan on a number of different community television and radio stations, as well as online on our website at civiccentertv.com and on My Michigan TV or MyMy. Learn more about MyMy TV and download the free MyMyTV app on your smartphone and your smart TV by going to mymitv.com or mymytv.com. We're pleased to be joined now by the Superintendent of the Ferndale Public Schools, Dr. Dania H. Bazzi, with us now on the Megacast. Dr. Bazzi, thanks for being with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So it's a different situation, some similarities, but ultimately it's a different situation. Navigating this pandemic from one school district to another. Thus far in the pandemic, what has Ferndale done in order to continue its regular operations and provide the best possible education to students in Ferndale, Oak Park, Royal Oak Township, and Pleasant Ridge, despite all of the challenges that have been thrown at you throughout this pandemic?
You know, I think it's being really committed to our safety measures, wearing masks, frequent hand wash, social distancing where possible. Our students and staff are doing their part to ensure that those who are able and want to be vaccinated have the opportunity. So again, sticking to our mitigation strategies has really helped us see a really contained amount of number of COVID cases with minimal spread among students. So our students are doing their part by wearing their masks and keeping distance when it's possible to do so. But again, we're doing the best we can in terms of minimizing the impact of the COVID-19 virus.
So what does classroom look like life look like at this point in time across the board in Ferndale? In most places throughout our state, learning is entirely in person. In some places, it may be hybrid or maybe shifting depending on the COVID-19 situation in the schools. But taking into account all the mitigation factors and the preventative factors that Ferndale has in place, what is the current status of the typical day and the typical life in a Ferndale Schools classroom?
We've resumed school full-time in person. So students have a schedule that they were used to prior to March of 2020 when COVID shut down our schools at the onset of the virus. So our students are back in school full-time. We do obviously have different strategies at lunch and within the classroom to promote social distancing. But our athletics are back up and running. Our extracurricular activities are up and running. So we are trying to provide our students with the experiences that they were used to prior to the COVID-19 virus. We know that students learn best when they're in person and are able to safely partake in those after-school activities outside of the classroom. So safety is our number one concern, but we also know how important those experiences are for our students' social and emotional well-being.
We're joined by Dr. Dania H. Bazzi. She is the superintendent of Ferndale Public Schools with us on the Megacast. Learn more about everything that's happening in Ferndale Public Schools at ferndaleschools.org. And Dr. Bazzi, throughout this pandemic, one thing that's really been put under a microscope and has gotten a lot more focus are the inequities in our education systems from district to district and state to state and just across the board in general. And recently Ferndale Schools adopted an equity-based strategic plan that included a new district vision statement. Tell us a little bit about devising this equity-based strategic plan and what exactly does that mean for the students of Ferndale Public Schools going forward?
Right. So that equity-based strategic plan was created with a diverse population from our community. It included staff, community members, students, administrators, teachers, and basically they're the ones who really structured and created the strategic plan with its 3 pillars that focus on environment, excellence, and environment. So those three pillars, the one common theme that goes throughout those pillars are equity. So without equity, you can't have any of those other things in terms of your strategic plan. So the community really rolled up their sleeves, committed to over 40 hours of meeting time and numerous stakeholder input sessions to create that. What does it mean to our students? It means to our students that the Board of Education is committed to looking at policies and practices that are not equitable towards students, and to ensure that equity lives within their policy. So we've had numerous policy changes as it relates to our dress code of conduct, the curriculum that's being taught in the classroom to ensure that we have libraries that are reflective of our student population. So again, it's those things that are making a curricular impact in the classroom, as well as the policies that are established by the Board of Education.
And part of creating a more equitable plan for education going forward is modifying traditions to be more equitable as well. And what was really exciting news in recent weeks, as we are in the thick of homecoming season in many of our schools across the state of Michigan, was that Ferndale Schools ultimately decided that instead of crowning a homecoming king and queen, they decided to instead opt for crowning homecoming royalty in an effort to be more gender inclusive across the board in that school tradition. Tell us a little bit about how that came about, and ultimately what was the result of that change being made in Ferndale Public Schools.
Yeah, that was really an inspiring moment. That change really came as a result of our student council. We've had discussions last year about not having gender cap and gowns. So if you identify as a female, you wear this color. If you identify as a male, you wear this color. And the district moved away from that because, again, we want to ensure that all of our practices are inclusive of our entire student population. And the students, through their advocacy, took it to the limits of homecoming and recommended that change to our high school principal, Miss Isaac. And she agreed with them, and they implemented the change. So in Ferndale, we believe in student voice. We believe in student advocacy and giving them a platform to incite change that will be representative and inclusive of our entire student population.
We're joined by Dr. Dania H. Bazzi. She is the superintendent of Ferndale Public Schools, with us on the Megacast. And this Friday from 6 o'clock to 7:30, another exciting event in Ferndale, and a big milestone as they will celebrate the 100th anniversary, the centennial celebration of Roosevelt School in Ferndale. And so tell us, Dr. Bazzi, a little bit about the history of this school in Ferndale and the significance of celebrating the centennial of this institution in the local area.
Yeah, so the Theodore Roosevelt Elementary School opened in 1921, which was 2 years after its namesake passed away. Over the years, it was also known as Roosevelt Primary School and now Ferndale Lower Elementary School. That building for 100 years has served our students. It's been an excellent building and has a lot of deep history as it relates to Ferndale Public Schools. So, to have a building that has hit the century mark is pretty neat. We are excited, though. We are building a new Ferndale Lower Elementary School to meet the needs of students of today. The great news is that the current site of Ferndale Lower will still be utilized by the district for the CASA program, which is the Center for the Advanced Studies in the Arts. So that building will continue to live on, but in a different capacity. And we look forward to engaging with our community and really reminisce about all of the great educational stories that have passed through those hallways.
And then, Dr. Bazzi, what are some of those ways that you will be celebrating? This 100th anniversary. Of course, they're inviting the community out for a centennial celebration from 6 o'clock to 7:30 this week, Friday. Any other ways that this institution in the Ferndale Public Schools, on its 100th anniversary of operations there in Ferndale, will be celebrated?
So we'll be giving building tours. Obviously, we'll need people to wear masks and be safe and be socially distant throughout the building, so they can reminisce where their gym class was or what classroom they had. So we'll be giving building tours. We'll also, we do also have a remembrance log for people who want to share stories about perhaps people who aren't with us physically and share some of those stories. Those stories can be shared with bill.good@ferndaleschools.org. Again, his name is bill.good. So those can be shared with us. We're also going to have donuts and ciders and be able to chat and connect with the community and engage with one another.
We're joined by Dr. Dania H. Bazzi. She is the superintendent of Ferndale Public Schools, joining us today on the Megacast. And Dr. Bazzi, across school districts here in Oakland County and all throughout the state, much like in other industries, there has been a bit of a staffing crisis of late, due in part to the pandemic and a number of other factors as well. In terms of Ferndale Public Schools, what is the status of your staffing overall, and what needs may there still be right now in terms of filling remaining staffing positions?
Well, we are lucky. We have an incredible staff who has really banded together and worked hard with one another to ensure that our students' needs are met within the place. Of course, we still have certain vacancies within the district as a result of the impacts of the COVID-19 virus. Positions like support staff as paraeducators and preschool aides have probably been our biggest area of need. The good news is that we're getting close to being staffed at a level that we have in the past. So we're definitely excited about that. We also have a job fair with conditional on-site hiring that's taking place on October 20th. From 3:30 to 8 p.m. at Ferndale High School, right when you walk in the main entry. It's 881 Pinecrest Drive, Ferndale, Michigan. So again, at that point, we'll be trying to fill in any remaining positions that we do have. But we are very lucky and blessed that we've been able to make sure that we have coverage and that the needs of our students are being met.
We're joined by Dr. Dania H. Bazzi. She is the superintendent of Ferndale Public Schools with us on the Megacast. Dr. Bazzi, just a few more minutes with you today before we'll say goodbye. At this moment in time, is there anything else that parents, students, faculty of Ferndale Schools should know about the current status of the school district and the way it's being operated in terms of the COVID-19 pandemic, or anything interesting that's coming up for either discussion or is in planning in the Ferndale Public School District?
Yeah, I think it's been a good start to the school year. Obviously, we've had some challenges that we've been able to overcome as a school family. I'm always in awe of the compassion and empathy that our district exhibits towards staff and students, and really willing to do whatever it takes to help out. We've had families and parents in the buildings volunteering if we've been short-staffed on certain areas. So kind of the roll up their sleeves mentality has been a blessing. We are finishing up some construction at Ferndale Upper Elementary and at the Ferndale Early Childhood Center, as well as our transportation center. Those updates are going to be wonderful for our students and our community to enjoy those buildings. And then in the future, we're really looking forward in the spring for the start of our brand new state-of-the-art elementary school, lower elementary school, that hopefully will be completed in 2023. So a lot of great capital improvements coming our way. The district is moving along and making it through a very difficult year.
Well, Dr. Bazzi, we appreciate you coming on and telling us all about how Ferndale schools have been operating during the pandemic, some important changes that have been made in the Ferndale Public School District, and also giving us a preview of what's to come. We appreciate your time.
All right, thank you. It was my pleasure. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. FerndaleSchools.org is where you can go to find more information about everything happening in Ferndale Schools, as well as learn more about their upcoming job fair as well. Again, FerndaleSchools.org. And of course, you can find all of our interviews from the Megacast on our website at civiccentertv.com/Megacast. There you can find more information as well about all of our partnering television, radio, and other media outlets. And then right next to that, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. If you're in one of the many communities throughout Oakland County that are covered by our partnering television, radio, and other media outlets, you can learn more about how COVID-19 is affecting your direct community, both in the schools, in regular government operations, and more, and other regulations and precautions that are in place in your local area by going to our website at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side, we'll transition from our schools to some entertainment. We'll talk about an upcoming film festival with Sherrie White Jr., the festival director of the Vidlings and Tapeheads Film Festival. That is coming up next. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
I couldn't breathe at all. There was lots of talk about putting me on a ventilator. I thought I was gonna die. I was 39 weeks pregnant and had a scheduled C-section. During that time, I got COVID and was hospitalized for a month. I had a blood clot in my lungs. It caused me to go into right-sided heart failure. I was really scared. I kept texting my husband and my mom, telling them how scared I was, and I was worried that he was gonna grow up without a mom. And then I was worried if, when I did get home, that he wouldn't know who I was. You know, being 27 and a mom and a wife and having that all almost taken away from me. It's scary. And if a vaccine can prevent that from happening, why not? Get your vaccine. I don't want this to happen to anybody else.
A message from the staff of Michigan's Crime Victim Compensation Program.
Anyone can be a victim of crime
and suffer lasting trauma, physically, emotionally, and financially.
But you are not alone.
If you're struggling financially due to a crime,
we're here
for you. Find out if you qualify for crime victim compensation. Call 877-251-7373 or visit michigan.gov/crime-victim.
A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Victim Services.
You see certain things get reincarnated in your children. My daughter is very much inspired by my wife's artistic pursuits. So my daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. If there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, and I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanted to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you did. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council.
As partners, working together to protect our water resources, we agree.
Pet waste is a source of harmful bacteria in the Huron River.
When it's left on the ground, it can wash into the storm drains.
These lead directly to our streams. No filters, no treatment.
Here's one thing we know that can help keep our water clean.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
So pick up pet waste and trash it.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe alongside Calvin Brown in our studios in West Bloomfield Township, where we broadcast live Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. until 12 noon on the Megacast. You can find all of our interviews as well as our full episodes on demand by going to our website at civiccentertv.com/Megacast or go to civiccentertv.com and click on the Megacast link at the top of the page on your computer web browser or on your cell phone web browser. by scrolling to the left margin of the screen, pulling up our pull-down menu, and clicking on Megacast. In addition to all of our on-demand content, you can also learn more about every station that partners with us and joins us both live and live to tape throughout the day on the Megacast. Capping off today's edition of the show with just a little bit under 20 minutes remaining, we're pleased to be joined now by Sherrie White Jr. He is the festival director of the Vidlings Tapeheads Film Festival that will be coming up on October 22nd and 23rd in Hamtramck, and he joins us now on the Megacast. Sherrie, thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you with us. Tell us a little bit about the Vidlings Tapeheads Film Festival.
So Vidlings Tapeheads, we're in our 4th year, and this is unconventional storytelling film festival. So we do have a lot of weird and eclectic shorts, but that weirdness and idiosyncrasy is always funneled through storytelling and narrative. So it's these aren't short films that are just brightly colored light visual wallpaper. These are telling stories. They're just doing it in an unconventional way. 15 minutes and under, we have made in Michigan film blocks, animation, documentary, and fiction, and sprinkled throughout the weekend also is live music.
We're joined by Sherrie White Jr. He is the festival director of the Vidlings Tapeheads Film Festival. So you mentioned the music also. There will be some music at their kickoff event as well. And so will the music also be kind of experimental and avant-garde like the films, or is that going to be more?
There is that, yes. This is, it's not radio pop necessarily, although I wouldn't turn that down. But these are all local acts as well. It's really important to me to showcase, local films and local music, as well as the films from around the world, and expose, our visiting filmmakers that are coming from all over to the Michigan art scene.
And so, Sherrie, what makes these styles of films, the films that have a little bit more weirdness to them, a little more avant-garde, what makes them stand out or this film festival featuring these kinds of movies stand out differently from other film festivals in the local area?
Well, a big part of it for me is, when talking about unconventional cinema, that can come about in a lot of different ways. One, it can be, tell me a story that I've never heard before. Or it's tell me a story I've heard in a way that I've never heard it before. And that can be done through cinematography or different filmmaking techniques, but it can also be used with representation. So any films with a lot of queer representation, people of color, that's something, again, you're telling stories that maybe just have not been told a million times before.
And so you mentioned some of those reasons in that answer, but why should people, if they're not used to viewing these kinds of films or viewing these styles of films, why should people that enjoy movies, that enjoy going to the cinema, enjoy local filmmaking, why should they ultimately be interested in seeing some of these films and watching some of these more experimental styles?
That's a great question. There's the idea that avant-garde or different cinema is almost like a medicine that you have to take sometimes. Like it's eat your vegetables, and it's not going to be that fun, but it's going to be good for you. But I would say that our film festival is that medicine, but it's also really entertaining. When a film is really slow and long, and when it's over, you're like, what was that even about? That's not the kind of films that we're screening. I can have an appreciation for that kind of art house cinema, but there is a core of narrative storytelling. So even if you're going on a weird ride, when you're off that ride, you're going to know why you were on it. And I think that that's a really valuable experience.
We're joined by Sherrie White Jr. He is the festival director for the Vidlings Tapeheads Film Festival, which will be in Hamtramck on October 22nd and 23rd. October 24th will cap off the weekend with a filmmaker and VIP-only awards ceremony, brunch, and excursion. They have a kickoff party as well on opening night on the 22nd. They'll feature live music as well as other interesting events as well. Tell us a little bit about what people can expect if they go out on the first night of the film festival for the kickoff party as well.
Yeah, Friday night's really exciting. So we're doing a best of screening of previous Vidlings Tapeheads shorts. So these are both like there's comedy, but there's also some spooky stuff to really fit the vibe of October. So 8 p.m. Is when that launches, and it's about 80 minutes of just like some of the best shorts that we've ever had at the fest before. And after that, again, we are back in real life at a live event. And, you know, watching your previous programming talking about COVID, this is something that Ant Hall, our venue, takes really seriously. So only folks that have been vaccinated will be admitted with the requirement to show vaccination proof, and we'll be wearing masks inside. So we take this really seriously. We really want to get back in person and share live events, but we're going to be doing it safely.
So it's been a tough go of it over the past couple of years for filmmakers, especially independent filmmakers, who are often the ones that are submitting their films to festivals like this. And being that we're coming off of those 2 years where there's been a lot of time for some of these artists to reconsider their art, to come up with new projects, how excited should people be to see these films at this festival this year?
That's a great question too, because I have attended, I'm a filmmaker as well. I've programmed for other film festivals over the years, and I've attended some of the Zoom film festivals that these big fests have put on, as well as regional. And look, I get it, like Zoom festivals are better than nothing, but man, they're only slightly better than nothing. It's just tough because we're in front of our computers all the time. We're watching content all the time on our laptops and our phones. So to watch a string of films, short films, also on the same computer, it's really rough. And then you're missing the like talking to people in real life. So it really reinformed for me and emphasized what's so special about a live event. Like, yes, these films have already been made, they're already recorded, but it's the experience of watching it with other people. It's the experience of watching that live Q&A with the filmmaker and then having a drink with them afterward and like eating some pizza with them afterward. So I think it's really exciting to be able to be back. We're social creatures. And again, I've been able to keep connections with friends through Zoom over the pandemic. So I'm very thankful for what that can do. But that tool is not something we can apply to every aspect of our lives. We need that in-person connection.
We're joined by Sherrie White Jr. He is the festival director of the Vidlings Tapeheads Film Festival. That is coming up October 22nd, 23rd, and 24th in Hamtramck. The main events will take place at Planet Ann Hall, and it's adjoining Ghost Light Bar in Hamtramck. And that, again, October 22nd, October 23rd, and October 24th, which on the 24th includes a weekend with a filmmaker and a VIP-only awards ceremony, brunch, and excursion as well. And so, Sherrie, what are some of the films that people should be excited to see when they come to the festival this year? On your short list, what are some that you would suggest if people do attend this event that they view?
That's so tough. We have 38 short films, and we've done something different this year that we haven't done before. I mentioned earlier the 4 categories: Made in Michigan, animation, documentary, and fiction. And what we've done, like many film festivals, is screen those as discrete blocks of films. So at 12:30 you have Made in Michigan, et cetera, et cetera. Well, this year we've basically made mixtapes. So we still have 4 blocks, but every block has a little bit of a mix of everything. And including with that, there's like some themes that like surprisingly came up. So I, first of all, can't say which block to recommend because they're all great. They all have something really special in them. And as far as films that stand out, that is like picking your favorite child. There's a film that I saw at Slam Dance, and I was programming for Slam Dance, and it's an animated documentary called Umbilical. And that is something that I've seen many times now, and I'm really happy that we have it in our fest as well. And that was like really powerful and moving. But honestly, yeah, like to get selected in our festival, you already have to go through all these rounds of programming. So everything that we're playing is something that we have like watched multiple times, thought deeply about, discussed. So yeah, they're all my favorite.
We're joined by we're joined by Sherrie White Jr. Sherrie White Jr. is the festival director of the Vidlings Tapeheads Film Festival. That will be on October 22nd and 23rd, as well as the 24th in Hamtramck at places such as the Planet Ann Hall and its adjoining Ghost Light Bar in Hamtramck. And so, Sherrie, for people that are interested in this, where can they find more information, learn more about some of the films that they may be able to see in some of those blocks, and ultimately get tickets to attend the event as well?
Yeah, so our website, vidlingstapeheads.com. Vidlings is a word that you may not have heard before because I may have coined it. And it's like the word video and the word earthlings. So Vidlings, Vidlings and Tapeheads. You can also Google it and our website will come right up. We have the schedule already posted. So if you're curious about the blocks and the themes that, come up, if you're curious about the bands, all of that's in there, all the information, and also ticket links. And you can get, it's $5. Like we keep this, punk rock, old school. I want people to attend. So attending a film block is $5. Getting a pass for the entire, all 4 of them is $20, which also gets you access to all of the live music. And then for a little bit more, you can get a VIP pass, which gives you super secret special access to Saturdays or Sundays brunch and our excursion. You get to hang out with the filmmakers and stuff like that. But yeah, all of those links are on the website, easy to find.
We're joined by Sherrie White Jr. He is the festival director of the Vidlings Tapeheads Film Festival. As Sherrie said, learn more information by going to Vidlings Tapeheads Film Festival.com. That's vidlingstapeheads.com. And so, Sherrie, you mentioned that you coined the term vidlings, but for people that aren't familiar, well, what's a tapehead?
Yeah, well, tapehead has that actually has quite a bit of a history. There's a great movie in the cult film in the 80s called Tapeheads. And I actually ended up meeting that director out in LA randomly. But a tapehead is someone who is really passionate about analog media, whether it's cassette tapes or videotapes. And I have definitely come up in the VHS era, and I'm a bit of a tapehead myself. And so while our festival is not a VHS film festival, I do have an appreciation for analog media. And if we have no boundaries on the type of things that can be submitted. So if you made a film and it's compelling and you did it with your cell phone or you did it with your old VHS camera, great. Like that gives, again, a different type of experience. So I think the Tapeheads in the title alludes to a bit of the cult cinema aspect of our fest.
We're joined by Sherrie White Jr. He is the festival director of the Vidlings Tapeheads Film Festival. Joining us on the Megacast at festival running October 22nd through 24th in Hamtramck. And Sherrie, we've had over the years a really interesting independent film community here in the state of Michigan. We got a lot of great filmmakers across the state. For those that are into more of the films along the lines of what we see at the Vidlings Tapeheads Festival, how has their resurgence after the COVID-19 pandemic, or the bulk of the pandemic, how has that been for them? Because for most filmmakers in the state, it was really a time of struggle and coming back out of the pandemic on independent films and on non-studio films as well that we're filming in Michigan. It's been a really tough go of it and an intricate go of it coming back.
For sure, and I live in LA, and so seeing the way that the industry's been impacted there as well, there's a lot of parallels. What I would say is with my experience in short film, at least, short film has been able, and especially short experimental or less conventional works, have been able to dodge some of the worst impacts of this, because as soon as you have any kind of feature film with any reasonable decent budget, you now have a crew. You have camera and camera assist and sound and assistant directors, and now in a COVID era you just can't really do that safely. When you're doing a short film, you could do it by yourself. You can we have one film in our fest that is told through Zoom, and it's very much a pandemic era type of story, and I don't think I would want to watch a feature that's all told. Well, actually, you know what? If it's good, I would. But yeah, I think that filmmakers in Michigan and overall have found really creative solutions, just making maybe a smaller, more intimate, personal piece, shooting things in segments, and then stitching it together to continue to be creative and prolific even in the pandemic era.
We're joined by Sherrie White Jr., the festival director of the Vidlings Tapeheads Film Festival, happening October 22nd through 24th in Hamtramck. The main events will be at Planet Ann Hall, and it's adjoining Ghost Light Bar in Hamtramck. Sherrie, just another minute or so before we'll say goodbye. Anything else that people should know before they head out to the Vidlings Tapeheads Film Festival?
Well, Ant Hall, if you've never been there, I mean, you're missing out. It is an amazing venue. They've been partnered with us since the beginning, and it's actually, multiple venues inside. And, they have a comedy club, the stage for the main Ant Hall, with the screen and the seating. It's just a really great place, really cozy, really safe, honestly, a loving environment. I just love the guys that run that. And and Saturday, I shout out to one of our sponsors. Amici's Pizza has been sponsoring us from the get-go. And we have this lunch, late lunch on Saturday. And the pizza's free. You don't even have to have a ticket to eat free pizza. So come hang out with us, eat pizza, and then, maybe buy a ticket or two and watch some of the films.
You can learn more information and buy your tickets at vidlingsandtapeheads.com. Sherrie, thanks.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Sherrie White Jr., he's the festival director of the Vidlings Tapeheads Film Festival, happening October 22nd through 24th. Learn more information and, of course, purchase your tickets at vidlingsandtapeheads.com. That's going to do it for today's edition of the Megacast. Big thank you to all of our guests, including Sherrie White Jr. from the Vidlings Tapeheads Festival, Dr. Dania H. Bazzi, the superintendent of Ferndale Public Schools, for joining us on the show, as well as Sherrie James, the career counselor at JVS Human Services, previewing Recharge, and Ashley Sandergrit from the Michigan Make-A-Wish Foundation chapter as well. You can find all of our interviews on demand on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast. That is also where you'll find all of our full episodes on demand as well, if you want to watch our shows on demand in the evenings or in the afternoon, late in the afternoons after our live shows. You can find that all there, and on that webpage you can also find all the information about our partnering television, radio, and other media outlets here across the state of Michigan. On civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, we will post our headlines from today, and we have our top stories each and every day over there, as well as access to reputable information from trusted resources on the front lines of this pandemic, including the CDC, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, the Oakland County Health Division, and information from many of our local municipalities here in Oakland County as it pertains to this pandemic. A big thank you to our entire crew, Larry Nyland, our booking producer, and our Zoom producer, arranging each of our interviews every single day and then helping those people get into Zoom, get onto the show with us, make sure that they're looking good, they're sounding good, and they are ready to go. Also, a big thank you to Calvin Brown, our studio producer and board operator, who joins me in here each and every day, Monday through Friday, live from 10 a.m. to 12 noon as well. Coming up next on Civic Center TV, it is The Splash with Maddie Mushkin. Over on My Michigan TV, it is Steve Leto Live, and then the Megacast will return live tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.